Ho ho ho, are we doing, Beatstar fam? Merry Christmas, happy holidays, whatever your reason to celebrate, I hope you are having a beautiful day. I ran a poll earlier in the week asking what kind of video you'd like to see on Christmas Day, and the overwhelming majority asked for my opinion on a tier list for deluxe songs, so here we are. Beatstar saw this brand new deluxe update a few weeks ago, which brought us 30 new charts to play from songs already in the game. Despite the issues with the monetization of the system, the deluxe charts are, for the most part, fantastic. Now, I'm prefacing these lists by saying that I am a sane human and therefore do not own all of these charts. I've played the majority of them, however, and I've studied the ones I haven't gotten to try yet. While I'd much prefer to simply play all of these before making this video, I don't expect to have all the songs unlocked anytime soon, so this is what I've got to work with. These lists are my personal opinion and are not put together with data like the usual lists for obvious reasons. Per usual, this list is ranking songs specifically on difficulty to earn a diamond perfect. Before I get into the tier list, do you know what I would love for Christmas? You to take a second to click that subscribe button. Think of it as mailing me a cute little wrapped up gift. I'd really appreciate it. Anyways, let's start with the hard list. The 1-star row houses what I believe to be the two easiest deluxe charts currently in the game. Both of these charts should probably have been normals, but Space Ape clearly wanted to go with all hards and extremes, which introduced some questionable difficulty rankings. No surprise with Someone You Loved, which is one of the easiest normals in the game already. The song doesn't present any rhythms that could be too challenging. The Less I Know the Better is similar, and is just such a slow song they couldn't and shouldn't have made it much harder. Moving on up to the 2 stars, we still don't really have anything too difficult. Circles, while being a wonderful step up from the original normal, is still a very easy hard and could probably have been a 1.5 had I decided to use decimals in this list. Hey Soul Sister is incredibly slow and easy until just the smallest bit of syncopated trickery near the end. Say So is definitely the toughest too, and may even be deserving of a 3. This chart has a good bit of 16th rhythms in it, but the patterning itself is very simplistic and the tempo is slow enough that there's still no real problem. Starving is also very easy, and another one that I think could have passed as a more dense normal chart. It's still a small step up from the ones though, and I think, like Circles, it could have worked as a 1.5. Talk is a bit more dense than most of the songs we've talked about so far, but still has basic patterns and rhythms and is well deserving of a 2. The 3-star line is, as usual, the most crowded, and I think all of these represent middle of the pack deluxe hards. 24 Karat Magic is one of the most fun deluxe charts thus far, but I think it's probably better as a 3.5. Blinding Lights is easy and fun and is right on the 2 to 3 line. It's got just a little bit more tricky patterns that I think bump it up to a low 3, but it's still nothing too bad at all. Dilemma is great and a solid step up from the normal. It's dense but simple, mostly just 8th runs with no surprises at all. Easy stuff. Good Time has an energetic chart with a little difficulty spike in the last quarter of the song. It gets double heavy and throws some gallops in to mess up your run at the literal last second. Some really cool uses of rail holds here. I hope we see more creativity with those going forward because all of them so far are pretty basic. Don't hate me for saying this, but La 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 actually has a wonderful deluxe chart and it makes the song way more tolerable. This also feels like the point where we start seeing some more tricky stuff with deluxe charts without any huge challenge yet. Little Talks is another upgrade of the original chart, following the vocals well and being a bit more rhythmically intricate than the other songs we've looked at so far. Still a solid 3. Panini seems to be a really divisive one. I personally don't see much difficulty in this chart, but there's no doubt it's throwing a lot of people curveballs. I think this one works as either a 3 or a 3.5. Lastly, Tusa is yet another wonderful chart, an improvement from the original normal. Fun rhythms, though maybe a little more awkward than most of the other 3s. I think this one is more fitting of a 3.5. Getting up to the 4 stars, we'll start with Back Pocket. I think this one is probably the easiest of the 4s, but it gets pretty confusing in the very end and is certainly a step up in patterning difficulty from everything before it. Bad Romance is the first song mentioned so far that has inflated difficulty due to a rail hold swipe bug with deluxe charts. This is one of a few deluxe songs you may notice yourself dropping hold ticks on. Yeah, remember those? If this is you, you can remedy this by hitting the hold swipe part of the rail hold late. This still gives you a perfect plus and it ensures you get full points from all of the hold ticks. Really annoying bug that feels awful to do, but this is the only way around it right now until they get it fixed. Cake by the Ocean is wonderful, and while I sound like a broken record, it really is a perfect step up from the normal. It looks simple enough, but it's surprisingly easy to pick up a stray perfect on this one. Congratulations has a little bit of everything in it, much like the original chart. Nothing in the chart itself is too rough, but with so many different rhythms it can be easy to mess something up. It's also a long cut of the song, which doesn't help. The last 4-star is potentially the hardest, right up there with Bad Romance. Skater Boy is dense with several 16th runs, couple that with a good bit of drift and even a bugged rail hold swipe, and you get a bruiser of a hard. Finally, Pompeii sits as the lone 5-star on this list. I'd argue that it also has the worst chart of all deluxe songs, and it's really just a mess that tries and fails terribly. The vocals go all over, we already know this, but now we've got incorrectly charted drum runs and double spam and awkward patterns, and it's just ugly. This is definitely the toughest hard to DP. So here we are, my first ever deluxe hard tier list. Everything feels about right here, with a few songs having a bit of wiggle room to move around some. Let's go ahead and start on the extremes. The only 1-star is Kill v Maim, which, like the hard 1-stars, feels like it should probably be downgraded to difficulty. This one is really easy, especially for an extreme. If you're looking for your profile's first 100,000, this is your easiest opportunity. The songs on the 2-star line are more deserving of entry-level extremes. 7 Days is a great chart, basically the hard with the new deluxe mechanics and more correct vocal rhythms in the beginning. This one is still really easy for a deluxe extreme, and I've seen a lot of people think this one is actually easier to DP than the original hard chart, though I'm not so sure I agree about that part. Crank That reminds me a lot of Gangnam Style, and I think should these two tier lists ever mesh, it would sit right next to it. Similar style charting, just a little bit harder to stay on beat. The 3-star line is where things will start to get divisive among players, and I don't expect you to agree perfectly with me on all these songs. All the Small Things is dense but simple, which is right up my alley. About 2/3 through it gets even more dense with tons of doubles, but that's really it. If you're not great at keeping rhythms on doubles like this one's gonna feel more like a 4 to you. Hey Ya is another chart with lots of rail swipe holds, meaning this one is a doozy to DP without dropping hold ticks. I still think it's closer to a 3.5 than a 4, but depending on your ability to adapt to this bug, it can move up. The rhythms in the chart are all simple though, and it has a lot of swipes in it, which of course translates to a lot of free perfect pluses. The last 3-star is The Middle, which is similarly dense to All the Small Things, except subbing out all the extra doubles for all sorts of 16th runs in the guitar solo. Super fun chart here. If your weakness is 16th runs though, this one is probably higher on your list. Up to the big boys, we see American Idiot as the first 4-star. This chart is a blast to play and about as tough as they could have made this song without getting silly. Dense, lots of doubles, lots of notes, some really fast 16th drills, and just a bit of drift make this one of the hardest deluxe charts so far without a doubt. Bang Bang is the top dog of the rail hold swipe bug charts, with one swipe in particular giving you barely any time to both swipe it late for full points and also hit the upcoming note on time. Excellent chart, but over 700 notes and the point tick problems push this one to the top of the extremes. Lastly, the only 5-star on my list is Firestarter. This chart seemingly starts off with promise, looking like they reined in some of the wonky vocal rhythms from the original chart. Once you get about halfway through, the chart starts repeating this super awkward swipe pattern, and the more you play it and get random perfects, the more you start to realize they busted this chart as well. Awesome. Those aren't just repeating 16th note rhythms, the notes here are not evenly spaced. I have absolutely no idea what the chart artist was thinking, but this entire song is a mess because of this. I mean, look at this, what's even going on here? Once you make it through this crap, you get to an overly repetitive cut of the song, which isn't too difficult by itself, but it just keeps going and 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 going, and you keep looking and you're like, am I at the end of the song? And you're not, and it keeps going, and yeah. This one easily gets my vote for the hardest deluxe song to DP currently in the game, which is just a shame because they could have just not broken the rhythms and this could have been fun. Why did they cut the song like this? Oh man. Anyways, that'll do it for all the deluxe charts currently in Beatstar. What do you think about my list? Let me know in the comments which songs you have so far and which chart is your favorite. Special shout out to my Patreon donors and subscribers. If you like my channel and the kinds of videos I make, please consider subscribing to support the cause. It's Christmas, for God's sake, send me a present here. A few more update videos coming soon, but until then, enjoy the holidays however you see fit, and until then, I will see you on the internet.